Well, that was a disappointing morning. Serves me right for getting me hopes up, I suppose. Morning world, welcome to Wednesday 20th of March, and yes, me bubble's been burst a little bit, although to be honest I should have expected it and I should have known better. Oh, you want to know why? Okay, I'll tell you why. I'll give you a clue. It's behind me. So you're all well aware, or everybody who's been following the story is well aware, that I want to put a roof over both ends of this building so that my cattle can have their food under cover, not out in the weather. I had a conversation with Mark Smith from FWAG a month or so back, and we were talking about maybe getting some grant aid with some fencing over at t'other farm. And he said, yeah, we can do that. There's bits and bobs we can do over there. And I mentioned this, and he said, oh yeah, there's probably grant aid for that. You can probably get that now. The single payments are stopping. He said the government have got all this money to give away, and they're doing it through SFI and capital grant schemes and stuff like that. He said, so yeah, anything to do with sort of help with pollution and animal welfare and all. He said, yeah, you can get grants for that. I said, fantastic, brilliant. Anyway, we had the meeting this morning, and yes, we can get some grant aid, and some plans are in now in the cooking pot for stuff that we can do over at t'other farm. We'll be taking possibly a couple of pieces of our land out of production. We've got two fields that are predominantly very wet. They're difficult to work when it's wet, and the cost to drain and everything else kind of is, it'd be nice to do, but I haven't got to do it right now. So we're looking at putting them into bird seed or bird feed lays or something like that, which gives us an annual grant income, or annual grant income of over £800 a hectare. Basically, we take two pieces of land, they're both about 2.5 hectares each, out of production for 3 years, and the government will pay us, it was 800 and something pounds a hectare per year to do nothing with it, just look at it. I mean, like I said to Mark, it kind of goes against the grain for us. I mean, the idea of a farm is that we produce food, that's what we want to do. But when you crunch the numbers on these particular two pieces of ground, they're difficult to work because it's so wet. And it's just the lie of the land. It's just where they are, the lie of the land. They take ages to drain, and the inputs we've got to put into it that could all get washed out and into watercourses, and the cost of harvest and the cost of sprays. I'll tell you, add it all up, and then look at the potential income of, like I said to Dad, if you work on, say we get 3 tonne to the acre out of it, say £200 a tonne, and you crunch the numbers and work it all back, he's actually better off doing nothing. Just planting it to these lays for 3 years. And like I said to Mark, Dad's a bit older now, I'd like him to have an income from the farm with as little stress as possible. So that's one box. So 2 pieces of land we're looking at taking out of food production, so about 5 hectares. We've earmarked another couple of pieces which are like corners and little square bits, which are awkward for spray and the combine and fertilising. They're awkward bits, and we can do bits. We can cut off a sharp corner. We can cut off a little square bit. We can just take little bits out of production. So we've kind of shaded those in as well. Mark's gone away to crunch some numbers for us and do some figures, and that's quite possibly what we're going to do next year, is take the unproductive or the harder to produce areas of the farm out of production, plant these wild bird seed lays things, and Dad could literally just draw some money for doing nothing. So yeah, for 3 years. Anyway, so we got through that, and then Mark said to me, before I even asked him, he said, and your barn roofs? And I said, oh yeah, and he goes, nothing. You're not entitled to anything. Oh, really? Yes. Oh. And he said, it's because of where you are. There are zones throughout the UK of like high priority, medium priority and low priority. And unfortunately, I, here, I'm in a low priority. So I'm not eligible to even apply for any grant aid for a roof over this or concrete or anything. At t'other farm, I would be, but here I'm not. So yes, still going to build the barn roof, still going to do that because I want to do that for the animals, but we've got to self-fund the whole thing. So again, yeah, it's a bit of a pain, it's a bit of a blow, because if we could have got funding for the barn roof, it would have given me a chance to concrete some of the yards. But I think it's going to be now, if that's the case, we'll scratch by with the roofs this year and maybe concrete next year. I know it's manana again with the concrete in it. But, you know, like I said before, I don't want to borrow any money to do this. I'll do it a bit as I can. If I'd known we definitely weren't going to get any grant aid, would I have ordered both ends of the barn? Well, if we hadn't gone down with TB and had a compensation check, no. But being as we did have a compensation check and we did have some unexpected lump of income come in, we're going to turn that over, put it straight back in the farm. So yes, we're going to build, that's the intention. Roof on both ends of the barn this year, just get it done, pay for it ourselves. Yeah, you know, what else were I going to do with it? I mean, who wants to go on holiday or do anything nice? Just build a barn. Seriously, I'd probably rather build the barn anyway. Anyway, that was my morning. Was over at Dad's with Mark and discussing what we can and can't do. So yeah, we can get help over there, just nothing here. In saying that, I could put my grassland here, with permanent pasture, into low input, and I can get some grant aid on that. The downside with doing the low input grass lays, there's a couple of downsides for that for this year. I think they pay something like £150 a hectare to do that, but it means I can't spread as much muck. And this year it might mean I can't spread any muck. And bearing in mind, we've got a pretty big pile of that up there. So I might have to get rid of that if we go down that route. But the problem is, £150 a hectare is not actually that much. And if we've got to keep the cattle here for a longer period this year because we're shut down on TB, we might cross over into the realms of it's no longer low input anyway. So we'll think about that. We'll think about it. It basically means if I do that, if I draw the £150 a hectare, I've got to pay to get rid of the muck. And I think one's going to balance the other out. We'll see. And hedges. We might go on to, there's a new scheme where if you trim your hedges every other year, so we do half the farm one year and half the farm the other year, then there is some grant scheme aid for that as well. So we're kind of looking at, because the basic payment scheme is gone, which is basically the government or EU gave us a lump sum depending on our acreage and what we claimed in the past per annum to do with as we wished. Now we have to apply for individual things to try and make up that lost income. Yeah, so it's more paperwork, but you know, farmers love paperwork. We live for paperwork, you know. Why would you want to sit on a tractor or a skid steer or come out and look at your cattle when you could sit in your office and do paperwork instead? I mean, no brainer, isn't it? Right, well, while I lament the loss of any help to do this, yeah, I'm going to whinge about it a little bit. It's literally because of the zone we're in, and that's all it is. It's just where we are on the map, because I can't have it. If I was 10 miles that way, I could have it. And if I was about 4 miles that way, I could have it. But I can't have it here. And it just seems like, well, what have they got that I haven't? Or what have I got that they haven't? I'm not bitter. Stay. Well, I've done the yard side. Well, what I call the yard, it's indoors, but I call it yard side of the cattle, calves. That's all cleaned out and chipped. I need to get some of this floor level down here a bit because, well, it's either that or I got to weld new gate hinges on that gate and make it higher. I think we'll just dig a bit out. Under it. That's the way to do it. Go on, get under it. There you go. That's a bucket full. Okay, they can kick the rest of that about themselves. Go on, mind your backs. Mind your backs. Come on. Out. Go on, get out. No, don't look at me. Back it up. Go on. Go on. Out you go. That's it. Now they're happy again. On your feet, you. Feet. Feet. Go on. Up the bed a bit. That's it. Right, cut some strings, chuck some straw, and then we'll move a lump of wood. About that much. That looks a little bit, I don't think that bale's going to come apart very easy. I might have to let the cows do a bit of that for me. I kind of thought that when I cut the strings. They were tough. Not sure this is going to want to come apart. We'll chuck a bit down the far end first thing. So yeah, I think I'm going to chuck some of these flaps in there. Just leave them to the cows. The cows break it up quite a lot. I'll go back in there in about half an hour or so with a fork and just spread it about. Because until that's broken up, that's like a brick. Go on. Have fun with that. Brutus to do quite a bit of the breaking up for me. There's nothing he likes more than driving his head into a bit of bale. That's it. You crack on. Seems to be getting better now. Right, we'll leave them to break that up a little bit, and like I say, we'll come back in about half an hour, and hopefully I'll be able to chuck it about a bit easier. That's it, Mary. Good job. I know you want to watch Sarah doing it, so. Go on then, show it who's the boss. Is it a bit dusty? Hey? Or you want a scratch, do you? All right, okay. There you are. Right, go on, back to it. Get and break that up for me. Come on. I don't really want it in the water trough though. I don't want it in the water trough. Silly girl. Silly girl. Come on, back. No, I don't need you to mess about. Come on. Get in the way. Just ripped another fingernail off. Brilliant. Come on. Have it over there. Wait, get away, you silly fool. Right, we'll come back to that. Let's go and shift this log. About the middle there, I reckon. No, that way a bit. That's got it. The question now is, where am I going to put it? Put it up there. Basically, anywhere bar there, to be honest, because that's where Holly's cabin's going. We're probably going to come back to this in the next week or so and finish cutting up, so I can't take it too far. But I don't want it in the way I'll have to move it again, although I suppose I can move it again, it's not that difficult, for our open day. I think I might just put it behind me. Is it secure enough? That's not going anywhere. Okay, right, put the bucket on and clear this mess up, but I'll just move that block first while I've got this on. Just tip him out. Go down the bottom with the rest of them. There's a goose sat in the stinging nettles over here. So I haven't yet been to have a look see how many she sat on, but she's definitely quite busy in there. And it is 3, including a fresh one today. Supper. Let's get rid of that while we're down here as well. I gotta move it. It's gotta go out the way somewhere. The thing is, I'm just moving a muddle from one place and putting it somewhere else. Anybody else? Anyone want a sheep rack? It's got a leg missing off it, wants welding back on, but you know, 40 quid, yours. I do have the leg, by the way, it's on top. There you go. It's almost tidy. A couple of bucketfuls of sawdust there. We'll pick up the lumps next, and then it's just sawdust left. There's a few little lumps in there, but I'll go on the compost. Don't want that in the compost. That was heavier than it looked as well. It's like powdery snow, this stuff. Except I think I'd rather play in the snow. Except it's cold. Done.